fired up.
The snap, the put down, the swing of the leg. It is on its way. It is good! Cincinnati wins the American Championship.
Cincinnati, a 20-point win tonight in Kansas City.
Cincinnati is legit. Welcome to the national scene. Wes Miller and the Cincinnati Bearcats with the win.
And guess what? The Joe Burrow era is just beginning.
Welcome back. It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. As always, I am Aaron Smith, joined by my two cohorts, the BCJ affiliate, Ed Mayhall, no longer the self-proclaimed best producer. I think he's been passed by somebody in the BCJ network.
That's not true.
But also Jeff Howell, who has a little stardom coming. Now, I mean, you got a new show, you were on another show, just busy little bee these days.
Yeah, I don't know where the guys from One Time for the Fan found me. I assume from my ramblings on Twitter, and they thought that I was, I don't know, I guess smart enough to come on their show and tell them all about Desmond Ridder.
Fair enough. I mean,
but it was a blast. That show's awesome. If anybody's like Falcons fans or lives in Atlanta and wants information, I mean, they seemingly cover every team that's down there, much like we do up here. So it was kind of like folding into another dimension worth of us. Like, felt like it's like the Marvel universe, like split through, and now I'm like on this Atlanta podcast. No, but they're great. It's One Time for the Fan, for anybody that wants to check that out. But they're a great group of dudes. They plan on coming up here for the Falcons Bengals game. Nice. So I'll point them the direction of Bengal Jim's tailgate.
That Desmond Ridder should probably be the starter of when they do come to town.
Oh, they were very hype on Desmond, and then I did get a chance to ask them about Hayden Hurst. There was a lot of people in their chat that were upset that Atlanta let him go over the fact that they thought that he wasn't used properly when he was there, and when he did get his chances, he looked really good. So they were like, the one guy was like, I hate to say it to you, he's better than Uzama. And I was like, all right, well, like nobody, like I'm not gonna. I'll
take things that we already knew for 200, right. Bob.
And he did also mention that he is a big personality, which I think we've seen a little bit of thus far. That he's a big, like, kind of a big personality, big locker room guy. So maybe he just slides right into the Uzama role as like Uzama 2.0.
Fair enough. Well, again, congratulations on your recent success with another podcast in the BCJ network. And
has that been announced here yet? I think that was just announced on Thursday.
Yeah, we just announced that Thursday. So you'll be co-hosting Bearcat Brunch with David Simone. So again, congratulations on quite the little glow up.
Oh, thank you. I have this to credit for all of it. So
you're welcome.
You're welcome.
I mean, I guess I should just, I have, he's just an affiliate over there.
Just affiliate.
I have a question to run by you guys before we get into like the sports stuff. Fantasy football. I have keepers due by midnight tonight, and I have a team full of guys. But I have to keep four, or I have to keep three. Well, technically four, but one's an automatic because he was a rookie, and we have a rookie draft, and we can keep last year's rookie, Kyle Pitts. No brainer. Oh. I'm keeping him. He costs like an 8th round, a 6th round, something like that. So yeah, no brainer on that one. But I have 4 guys that I'm choosing between, and I need to have 3 of those 4. A 1st round keeper cost for Cooper Kupp, a 2nd round keeper cost for Nick Chubb, a 10th round keeper cost for Terry McLaurin, and a 13th round keeper cost for Jalen Hurts. What are your thoughts?
I keep everybody but Jalen Hurts.
You don't think Jalen Hurts at a 13th round pick is?
So you give up so you give up your 13th round pick in the draft for. I don't play in a keeper league. I play just in we just play straight up draft. So like
they would count as your 13th round pick. Or Cooper Kupp as my first round, or Nick Chubb as my second round, or Terry McLaurin as my 10th round.
Oh,
I have to keep 3 of those 4. Ed, thoughts?
That's hard. That's hard to like.
Oh, I was messing.
He wasn't listening at all.
Yeah,
that's kind of hard to go on though. Like, I would lean. I would still, I think, lean towards maybe punting on Jalen Hurts.
See, for me,
although who knows, Cooper Kupp might not have another like crazy good year, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's still going to have a really solid year.
I would agree, unless he gets injured.
And you can't take it unless he gets injured into account here.
No, and if I didn't keep him as a first round keeper, somebody else. I have the 8th overall pick. Somebody else would have him, unless they've already used their.
I don't know,
round as well.
unless they start using him for other first round picks for like running backs.
But a lot of those are kept as well. And when you have 12 teams and you have 3 keepers per team, the only thing is, if they were every year, this is our rules are wacky. Every year, wherever they were drafted in the slots, they move up 2 places every year in keeper cost. So I won't be able to, if I kept Cooper Kupp and Nick Chubb, I can't have them as keepers next year. They would go back into the pile.
Okay, so if you punt on Cooper Kupp, hope that he's still there at the 8th pick,
then he'd go back into the pile next year regardless.
Then he goes back in, like
whoever my first round pick would be.
So no first round picks ever.
Can be
no
kept.
first or second round picks can be kept.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
You've got to see that there's a whole lot of brain needed for that league.
Oh yeah.
And when I play fantasy football, I like to just like make my
not
picks
do that
every year and then rock with it.
I'm thinking though, even if we didn't have keepers the way that they are, Kupp and Chubb at 1 and 2 are really good. So I think,
I don't think it comes down to McLaurin or Hurts.
Yeah. And do you want Hurts to be your quarterback at 13? That's excellent value. I can still take somebody else earlier.
Yeah, you could take somebody else earlier, and I think McLaurin will probably be available somewhere around in there if you wanted him back.
At 10? At 10?
I mean, I'm not saying all the way to the 10th round.
Right. Again, that would be excellent. That
would be good value on him too.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering who the hell's going to be throwing McLaurin the ball. Is it going to be Wentz? Because Wentz has not looked good through camp.
All right, punt on McLaurin. Final answer.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Punt on McLaurin. Final answer. Turn them in right now. Get the phone out. Sign on the dotted line. Let's go.
I'll get it in, but I have to host the show here.
Oh.
So where should we start? I'll let you guys drive a little bit tonight. You guys know the topics that I want to talk about tonight. So do you want to
send those somewhere?
Do you want to start with Reds topics? Do you want to start with Bengals topics? Do you want to start with Bearcats topics?
Let's just go with the Reds because they're playing right now, I think.
There's not a ton to talk about on the Reds.
Thank you, Jeff.
There's not a ton to talk on the Reds. Joey Votto did have rotator cuff surgery and will be out the rest of the season. We saw him in a picture was it on Twitter? Somebody had it of
him and Stevenson.
Him and Stevenson rocking the shoulder slings. Breaks my heart a little bit. Is Joey Votto done?
Only because of who he is, no. Like, I don't think he's going to ride off into the sunset on a, season-ending injury. I mean, can he come back from it and be? The thing is they can't just get. I mean, they owe him too much. He's, you know what I mean? Like, they still owe him
A ton of money.
Owe him some money.
Yeah.
I guess it's gonna really come down to how does he come back from it. You know what I mean? Like it. I guess the surgery went well because he was eating ice cream when he walked out of the
that was
hospital.
who tweeted it out. It was Kremchek. It was Dr. Timothy Kremchek who tweeted that out, actually.
Okay.
Now I remember.
So, like, look, he could be done. It could be that he comes back next year and it's not. I don't know what the timetable is on a rotator cuff surgery.
Ed, can you see if you can find that out?
If I can.
Thanks.
But I would assume that it's not like your average, 6 to 8 week kind of.
Yeah, I don't think he's out for a year, or not like an ACL or something
like
that,
or a Tommy John. I don't think it's like that. Rotator cuff is still tough. A rough surgery to come back from makes you wonder if that's why he waited so long. That's from
possibly
Mr. Inman. If he comes back next year and the rehab doesn't go well, maybe you know what I mean. Like if he comes back and it's not functioning the way he wants to, although he says that he injured it back in 2015 and he's been like, it's probably been slowly degrading since then.
Hopkins. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
Hopkins Medical says that throwers who have had this operation on average take 9 to 12 months to recover fully for throwing. But okay, so was it his throwing shoulder? I guess it was.
That might solidify him being a permanent DH. That's a great point.
What? I thought is it his right shoulder?
He was leaning with his back to Stevenson, left shoulder in the sling, I believe.
Let's find it.
Yeah, you look that up. Either way, though, I mean,
yeah,
that's not good. I would imagine if it is his rotator cuff, it's probably in his throwing shoulder.
Yeah,
that makes the most sense.
If we're talking 9 to 12 months, like that's not good.
Nope.
I didn't expect that. I was thinking like 6 months. Like I was thinking he would, you know what I mean? I was
like 4 to 6, right?
I was thinking he'd be ready to go, like start a spring training.
So that's his left.
Yeah. So that would in fact be his throwing arm. Now,
okay.
I guess if you're saying that throwers, it takes them 9 to 12 months.
Well, I found something else that says it takes 4 to 6 months, just 4 to 6 months for the healing before you can engage in usual sports. So you got 4 to 6 months for healing and then recovery, getting your arm back in, condition.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say it takes 4 to 6 months and he can come back, but he can't throw.
That's
permanent DH.
Permanent DH for sure.
And coincidentally, we now have the ability to have a permanent DH. Okay, so that's not as positive as I wanted that little segment to go.
He bats left, throws right.
Okay. Well, maybe there's hope. I don't know what kind of motion though.
He only has 2 more years left on his contract though.
Yeah,
still,
24
like, if you're even having to like move your,
you got to have the range of motion for sure, just to play baseball and just in general.
Yeah. Okay. Inman just said that the docs told him 6 months. Probably start rehabbing then.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is that.
maybe he just becomes like a bench coach.
In other news, Jake Fraley has been raking.
On fire, like the 5th highest OPS since the All-Star break. And you know who has the number 1 OPS since the All-Star break?
Is he getting drug tested? What's going on with Albert Pujols?
Is it like
Is that deer
12 years ago? Like, what the heck is going on? What'd you say? Deer antler spray?
Deer antler spray.
Dude, I mean, just why? Like, I really hope that Pujols gets to 700. I think he's at 693 now. Home runs.
So with Jake Fraley doing what he's doing and making the Winker and Eugenio Suarez trade look a little better.
A little bit.
A little bit. Is he somebody that you would continue to build, like help with this rebuild as you look at 24 being the year?
Well, here's the thing. I kind of look at 2023 and maybe even 24. I mean, we don't know, but I look at 23 kind of as like a solid tryout year.
For everyone.
Yeah. Keep them around. Obviously, you got your pitchers that aren't going anywhere with Ashcraft, who I guess is on the IL now. Lodolo and Green. And then you just start and then you got Diaz in the pen. So I think you keep him. I mean, obviously you keep him around, see what he's got. He totally over. I was watching a thing the other day. They said he's totally overhauled his swing. Like, you know, halfway through the season, he kind of pulled a Joey Votto and totally changed his approach and his the way he's going about it. Obviously, I have not been watching a whole lot of Reds baseball this year. I don't think any of us have. So to be able to make comments on like the little things like that, to notice that a batter outside of like looking and being like, well, he was not so good here, and now all of a sudden he is. Why? You know, for somebody to be able to mid-season kind of turn things around like that, if he can maintain that, if it's something that sticks, because there have been guys that have had hot streaks before. Looking at you, Aquino,
Man.
and then have fallen off the table,
Face of the earth.
And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, but look at all these other like really extended out metrics and stuff. No, I don't care. Like, he's not good.
No.
Outside of the fact that he has an absolute hose from the outfield. So
did Puig, and he's not even in the league anymore.
No, that's
Puig still does, for that matter.
Yeah, there's probably other mitigating circumstances there that have kept him out of the league.
I mean,
but Aquino absolutely has a hose, and if there are any bright spots throughout of things I enjoy watching, it's outfield putouts, and anytime somebody challenges him, it's exciting to watch. So maybe is there a way that we can get like, I don't know, like a designated just batter for him? Like he plays in the outfield, and then we use anyone else to bat for him.
I don't think that's how that works.
No?
No.
Can we also talk about why that Spencer Steer guy is still down in the minor leagues when we're calling up like Stuart Fairchild, who I'm sure is a very nice individual. But
I'm sure he's a really nice guy.
Steer's on like a 1,000-game hitting streak down there. He dented the outfield. Like,
did it again tonight.
He dented the outfield wall with a double tonight. Like, it's only a matter of time, right? Like, and
not this season.
You don't think they're going to bring him up at all?
They're going to wait until next year for all of these dudes because they don't want to start tapping into.
I saw somebody was commenting that it doesn't affect his clock isn't affected. There's like something because of probably a million reasons that Clay Snowden would know about that I don't.
I will be shocked if they bring him up already.
Just bring him up. I mean, I'm not saying go get Cam Collier and bring him up because that dude. I did see somebody say like, why don't we bring up Cam Collier? Like the dude's played like 3 games in rookie ball.
Well, Spencer Steer is doing some things down there. Ellie De La Cruz is doing some things down there. I feel like I see a different home run every single night.
And they're all monster shots. Like his first one,
519.
His first one at Chattanooga was like 519 feet. He just hit one the other day that was like 491. Like he just gets into the ball and launches it. And then
he had a home run the other night that he golfed. He went so low in the zone to reach and get one out.
And then you got Matt McClain is playing well. I can't even say his name. Noelvi Marte. That dude is raking down there. I mean, I at least see highlights from it because Bryce Spalding, I think, has turned into like he doesn't care about major leagues. He just watches minor league stuff and puts it up, and I'm okay with that. Like
Jose Barrero's finally coming around, even at the big league level.
He worked his first walk of the season tonight.
Well, he had a walk-off hit the other day after not many games after they had pulled him in the same situation for Alejo Lopez.
And I think
a week prior.
I think we had a conversation about that, and I said it's probably a decent little wake-up call, and maybe it was.
Or maybe you just let the guy hit.
Or maybe
we talked about that on Late Night Reds.
Maybe I know a little something, or maybe I don't. Maybe I just guessed on that one, but I look smart for it now.
And that'll be the show.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
and we're out. Goodbye.
But
we're only at 22 minutes. You can't cut it off yet.
But seriously, it's been a lot of fun. Like just even watching the highlights of quite the plethora of talent the Reds have accumulated. I saw that in a ranking of farm systems. I don't recall who it was by.
MLB Pipeline.
There it is. Fourth in all of baseball right now as far as farm systems go. And 2 months ago, you could not say that.
No, correct. And it was when we looked at the season through a different set of eyeballs. Very early on, it was, I think, right after the Winker Suarez trade, we had Clay Snowden on. And Clay tried to back us all off the ledge by saying, look, this is kind of the organization, the situation that they're in right now, and they're going to have to use this season to build the minor leagues. They're going to have to build their farm system and then start looking at, because they got some guys there and starting to look at 24, and we've all talked about it as being the year. And then some of the guys that they brought in, Fam, they were able to, and then obviously Castillo was already here, so we flipped him for an absolute haul. Drury, all those guys, like a couple of those guys that we more so the guys that we brought in on like some cheap deals. Yeah. We were able to flip. I mean, that really, that's about all you can ask for in a situation like that. Like if you know that this year is not going to be the year, which it very clearly was not going to be the year after a 3-22 start, you start looking for other things to be positive about, and that is you had some individuals that were playing very good individual baseball, and we were able to use them to fleece a lot of teams and take a lot of good guys out of other teams' farm systems and bolster our own. And whether they end up flipping some of those guys for dudes for right now when they start moving forward, maybe
we'll find out. Because that's what Houston did when they had their rebuild before they started banging trash cans and all that bullshit. But
I think they were already banging trash cans. They just didn't have the personnel to actually capitalize on knowing that, hey, here comes a curveball. And they're like, well, coach, I can't hit a curveball. So
nobody out there wearing buzzers yet or anything. But
yeah, nobody's holding their jerseys on while they're running.
Don't take my shirt off. You're gonna get me busted.
I got wires on.
Yeah, come on, man. So anyway, I digress. That's about all I have for the Reds, though. Unless you guys have anything else.
You think they'll start putting security in the upper deck at Great American Ballpark.
I saw that they were investigating the Oakland PD or whatever was investigating that. Unless there's camera that caught anything, we were doing it as a joke. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing.
I don't know how they're gonna catch that.
Good luck finding the people anyway.
Right.
Moving on. FC MID-cinnati played another game this week. How'd they do, Ed?
Oh God.
What? And
I said they tied.
Oh, weird. Huh. Would have never guessed. That's so strange. Unbelievable.
But we did we signed Vasquez for the next 3 years. Till 26. Till 26, yeah. So yay us.
Don't know what any of that means, but all they do is tie.
He was an all-star, wasn't he? I think.
Thank you. He was. Him and Acosta.
I'll give Ed. I'll throw Ed that back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Where are they in the standings now with all these ties?
You want me to check that? I could check that.
I think they were like 9th, which doesn't put them in the top half.
No, it kind of defines mid.
It's a little less. Although, I did start looking to see what the record is for like the most draws in a season. And it's
they're not even called ties. They can't call a field a pitch.
Columbus has 11 draws.
Field, whatever.
I think so do we, right?
No, we have 10.
Okay. And Columbus. Are you trying to say
they don't call it the Midwest for nothing?
Columbus is in 7th, so
well done, Aaron. Well done.
Did you hear that, Ed?
No, Aaron. What did you say, buddy?
They don't call it the Midwest for nothing.
Hey, but
moving on.
No, but the record's like 17. I think that's what I found. So.
All right. Well, also, we got Bengals and Bearcats. So, what are we doing next, fellas?
Let's go Bengals.
Excellent choice.
Houday. I did get to throw Houday out on that Atlanta Falcons podcast.
Let's start at this week.
I just love that the timestamp for FC Cincinnati is like 3 minutes.
I'm just looking at Ed's face.
Well, I missed a comment over here. It looks like Moose just got hurt.
Shocker.
Oh no, I'm assuming that Senzel will also come up.
DFA.
DFA them all.
DFA. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Him and his Cadillac commercials. So if we want to talk about the Bengals, I guess we should start. I wanted to start with this week, but I shouldn't start with this week. Let's go back to the preseason game. And let's talk about the broadcast issues. What the hell?
I got so mad I turned it off. Like it just said, I forget what it even said anymore. Just like this.
It said like the signal wasn't.
Signal was no signal or something.
It was a red screen. I thought for a second that something was wrong with my Apple TV. So I'm like,
oh, you were watching on the Apple TV.
So then I changed the channel on it, and everything else was working fine. So I'm like, oh, that's not good. Like went back to it, and then I, of course, went to the all-knowing Twitters, and everybody. I think there was like 40 tweets in a row that were just like a picture of everyone's, living room TV with a bright red screen and a little message right there in the middle, and they're like, "What's going on?" And like, Bengal Jim was not happy about it. Like,
let me tell you about how fun it is out here in Athens, home of Joe Burrow. I paid $30 to get the NFL Plus thing and have all the preseason games. And apparently I was blacked out on NFL Plus of the preseason because they think because I live in a Columbus market for some of the channels that I get all of the Columbus channels, which I don't, because the channel that the NFL football was on in Columbus, actually, whether it's ABC, NBC, I don't even know /care, actually is a West Virginia channel here. So on cable, I didn't get it. On NFL Network, I didn't get it. I got a Football Life rerun of Willie McGinnis. So I couldn't watch anything except the clips that were coming in, the highlight clips that were coming in from NFL Network. Super fun.
That's awful. You need a VPN, Aaron.
What service do you use?
Spectrum.
Oh, I was saying because all right.
And again, paid $30 for the NFL Plus app to have all of the preseason games. I could watch any of them except the one of the market I live in. Dumb.
They should be able to fix that somehow.
Yeah, especially when it's not being broadcast to anyone for the first quarter, apparently.
That's fair as well. Because when we switched back to Cincinnati Bell, the Verizon had been pinging off so many towers. Every time we logged into Hulu, it thought we were in a new zip code. So when we switched back to Cincinnati Bell, I had to call them to tell them that we switched to another cable service, and I had to give them a zip code and everything. I got to go to an IP address, website, and all that kind of stuff, and give them all this information so that they could get me back, my channels back. So is there something? I don't know. I feel like they should be able to do something like that for you, but it's Spectrum, so who knows?
Well, and I'm not going to call Spectrum about a preseason game.
Oh yeah, God forbid you call somebody.
It was preseason.
Right, but you get it out of the way so you can watch the regular season.
It was preseason.
Okay, all right.
Regular season, we should be just fine. In any case, that was me ranting about that. Dax Hill looks like the real deal.
What did I say after that first game?
Yeah, he
and
looked
guess
good.
who was feeling the heat?
He is graded right now out of all rookies, I believe number 4 out of all rookies.
I saw
with
that.
Sauce Gardner at number 5 out of all rookies, and that's according to PFF. But Dax Hill, there you go. Play it, Ed. Go ahead.
I'm not that ready for it.
Dog.
There it is.
I'm over here working things.
Never know what he's doing back there.
He's working to upgrade that BCJ affiliate status.
Trying my best.
Akeem Davis-Gaither also has been graded really high as he's played a ton throughout this preseason already. I think in the second game, though, he only had 13 plays, I believe. But still, rating really high. When I say a ton, maybe just a ton more than the starters who have played none.
Apparently, PFF ranked Volson with a 28 for pass blocking.
He did rank really poorly, according to PFF, this week, after a really high ranking last week. Still putting forth a better effort. At 28, I think that's still higher than Jackson Carman the week prior. Just saying.
Dog.
And Jackson Carman's been going through I guess he had COVID. They say COVID or something. He was out for a COVID day.
Apparently he has COVID. I'd have COVID too if I ranked the worst out of all NFL linemen in a preseason.
I guess if he has COVID, he wasn't out there this week, so
I doubt it. So
maybe
it's 5 days now?
Yeah. So
I don't know if Fauci retired, so I don't know what.
Not yet.
He's not,
It's end of the year.
Not till December.
Oh, sorry.
Fauci doesn't make the decision. CDC does.
Anyway.
I don't know if anybody would. I mean, maybe a change of scenery would be good for Jackson Carman. I don't know.
Like home on a couch?
No, maybe
might as well.
could make it some Buffalo or something.
What did you get from? What did you send us some buffalo wings for him?
No, they did that because we helped them win a game. They don't just get rid of those wings for nothing.
Did you guys see that the price for chicken wings is at a pre-pandemic low?
Tell that to the restaurants I'm buying chicken wings at.
I know, right?
Yeah,
But
seriously.
I just saw that the news I didn't know I needed to know last Thursday, I think, on Twitter.
Because you go buy a wing anywhere and you're paying
it's like market price now. It's like the same as buying a lobster.
Yes.
Like we don't even put a price in the menu anymore. We just say, hey, market price today. We don't know.
Prices are subject to change.
Is your football game today? They're $6 away.
Market price is such a scam.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, don't put market price. Just put on there. Like if it's $40
Always
or whatever, put it on there. Just put market price, and then be like, oh, if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it. No, that's probably not.
You probably should be out eating then. You're probably not going to tip your waitress very good either.
Clearly, Ed's run into some of this.
No, I'm just saying that's what people say. You're right. You're right, Jeff. You're right.
I'm right again.
We already talked about this. I tip very well.
You guys think it's weird though that no starter has played a snap prior to week 3? Did we talk about this last week?
That's not true.
No, we talked to. Oh, who started? Oh,
the kickers.
Yeah, the kicker.
Well, Chrisman was kicking the whole game. Huber was not, as they need to see what they have in Drew Chrisman. But yeah,
I think so here's my take on the punting situation, because I know a lot of people thought, I guess, that maybe Huber, myself included, would retire after last year. He's been around a long time.
Very long time.
My fear is, and maybe it doesn't matter because he's a superhuman, but having Huber continue to hold for, Money Mac or whatever.
I think that's there's your clue. Like
that's got to be, you know what I mean? Like that's got to be a little bit. It's got to weigh in there somewhat, right?
Sure. That's a big deal. Like you can't, if you've never done it before or you've never done it for this kicker, you're going to throw him out there week 1.
Listen to the Pat McAfee when McAfee went to the NFL, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've always held." And he never held ever. He was not. He went to a holding camp going into the NFL.
Didn't know that was a thing, but
he was holding for one of the best kickers in the league at the time.
Yeah,
Vince Harry.
He's like, I've never held, but he told him that he held all through high school, and he used to hold in college, all kinds of stuff. I guess you say what you got to say to get in the NFL, but
yeah, absolutely. Those interviews. No, you're right. No, I love caviar.
Is that a McAfee joke?
No, I was throwing out something random that people might not love.
Okay.
Fair. All right.
Couldn't follow you down that road, but glad you led me there.
All right. Well, all right. Not sure if that's a joke or not, but I'll be happy to unpack that with you later.
Fair enough. So the Bengals, did they win? Did they lose? I don't even know.
They lost.
All right, cool.
They could have so I caught the end of it because
9 to.
I'll drop it again. I was on another podcast.
I stopped even watching the highlights because I couldn't watch the game. I'm like, I've seen enough. Chris Evans had a really long return. I did see that.
I only turned it on because I saw somebody tweeted McPherson's gonna go for one from 70, and I was like, oh, let's see this. And I opened it up and watched the end of the game there, and he didn't. They never brought him back out. So I was like, yeah, Browning had a nice little out pass he made, and it kind of took it across the line, and then I think there was a false start on the next play, so they moved him back, and they were like, oh, they could send him back out there now, and you could see that Evan wanted to, he put his helmet back on and was ready to go. And there's no overtime in the preseason now, I guess.
Should there be?
Yeah, no. So it wouldn't have mattered. It just would have ended the game on a tie. So instead they ran, I don't know, some little goofy swing pass or something to end the game, and they didn't even try and throw a bomb. Just a little disappointing, but I guess if you throw some kind of crazy deep ball and somebody jumps up and lands and breaks their ankle in the preseason trying to go for the win,
can we just skip this preseason game on Saturday?
Well, before we get to the preseason game on Saturday,
Aaron has a rant that he has been chewing on.
Oh, I forgot Aaron does have a rant.
the hell are we doing with these joint practices? For what? It doesn't make any sense to have a joint practice. You have two teams this week that just played in the Super Bowl, and you have a coach, Sean McVay, who had to say, we don't need to be getting in fights. We got things to do. We got work to do, and we need to get these 2 days of practice in. If you need to get 2 days of practice, stay in LA. You don't need to be in Cincinnati. The two teams don't need to match up. We saw the Patriots and I'm trying to remember what was the other team. Was it the Colts?
Yes.
Just fighting again and again and again. Why do we need to do joint practices? Isn't that the whole point of the preseason games? Like, you don't see collegiate teams doing preseason joint practices. It just, none of it makes any sense to me. I don't know why we're doing it. And it just seems like either somebody's going to get hurt because they aren't pulling back when they're hitting people. And again, fighting, like you had a coach that literally had to put out a press release. We don't need to be in fights. Then don't have the joint practice. It's stupid. Stay home.
So actually, it was the Panthers that they fought.
Regardless.
I mean, we haven't really fought teams in the past, so why all of a sudden did they have to bring that out for us? Like, it's just because we saw each other in the Super Bowl, so like bad blood is carried over. Why did he have to come out and even say that?
I didn't even think that there were. I don't even remember there being any bad blood in the Super Bowl. Really?
Not on the field.
No.
I don't know. Just the whole thing seems dumb.
Yeah, I don't.
Tell me why we should have joint practices, and maybe I can listen to the other side. But I don't understand why we're doing this.
There's no
I
reason.
honestly don't see another side to it. I mean, I know like in high school, like they sometimes over the summer will have like a camp that has like 5 or 6 high schools come together.
That's a scrimmage, right?
And they run like a little they run like little 7-on-7s and like or they'll do a scrimmage, but it's like only helmets, so there's no hitting. Obviously high school has different rules and things about when they can put pads on and when they can do that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't understand why they need to do it, especially like taking out the fact that they were in the Super Bowl against each other last year, and I guess maybe there's something that we don't know about. That happened or maybe something in there. I don't know. But it doesn't make any sense. Why are you going to have these guys going at each other in practice and then
2 days and then
if something does start to fester during these practices and then you've got your starters out there in the third game of the preseason and maybe the Bengals run their starters out for the first 4 series, let's say, and the Rams only put in their guys that are trying to make the team, and some dude dives at Joe Burrow's knee. That's a problem.
Yeah,
I mean it's a problem at any point, but like
sure,
if it's something that can be tracked back to like, oh, there was like some words said, because like we all know Joe Burrow, he likes to talk, get under people's skin.
He does.
What if he gets somebody all fired up and then they're like, well, I'll show you. Like, way to go. That person's probably not making it out of the city.
This seems dumb. This whole thing seems dumb to have, especially before a third preseason game.
Two professional teams come together for a practice. Like what's the point?
It doesn't make sense. You should be in game prep mode at that point, not running 2 practices against each other and then playing a preseason game at that against each other. This whole thing is stupid and contrived, and I guess we're playing into nostalgia because we've always done this where you have some practices. I can't remember a time where they didn't do this. I feel like it's been going on since Hard Knocks. Maybe that's why they're still doing it, is so that they can have this footage on Hard Knocks. I don't know, but they can't be like...
Are the Rams on Hard Knocks?
No, I'm saying Detroit.
You're just saying it.
Detroit is.
Maybe that's why they continue this tradition of doing the scrimmages. So the practices. So you have.
Well, Detroit just had a player led practice.
That's interesting.
No coaches on the field except for who's their head coach? Is it
man?
The dude that drinks the coffee and stuff.
It cries a lot.
Dan
Quinn.
Dan Quinn. No.
Man Campbell.
No. Dan Campbell.
Man Campbell. Bite their kneecaps
Whatever.
off.
Whatever, that dude. So I guess only the head coach was out there, and they said he didn't say anything. He was just out there, and it was a player-run practice. I don't know if they had like a bad I
don't know. You've seen
preseason game, or if they've had like some bad stuff, and they just wanted to like let it rock and roll like that. Like
Jeff Geoff has a good point here. It helps bring more money in, and so if we're gonna have,
practices don't.
Pay. Practices. Okay, sorry.
It's a free. It's a season ticket holder perk to go to the
practices.
Yeah, the one this week. I think it's tomorrow or Tuesday.
We got to get all that. We got to get all that money to pay Joe.
So
it's not going to matter if he gets hit in a practice or in a game scenario because things boiled over.
I'm not on board with it.
It's stupid.
I like your rant, Aaron. Get off my lawn.
You had this week, right? And everybody thought it was a dirty play, but it wasn't. And what if something like this happens and now we're out of player, right? So
why don't you mute the sound when you're playing those videos?
I thought I chose no sound on that one.
Nope. That's why the sound doesn't have an X on it in that bottom right corner.
I won't talk to you.
That's fine. Well, if you look around on Twitter, though, there were, I believe, 1 or 2 plays that the Giants ran in that same game that were the same play against Bengals players.
Yeah, plenty of players came out and said it's not a dirty hit. Even Whitworth came out and said it's not a dirty hit.
I also read Whitworth has been very vocal on this particular subject, Andrew Whitworth, and he's been saying more or less that Kayvon Thibodeau just didn't he didn't defend himself well.
If you watch that,
you're not supposed to brace.
Well,
you're supposed to meet it head on. So
he gets into the backfield and it's like he froze. Like he wasn't sure. Like he didn't continue his. Like he took like a weird side hop step thing, and that was it. Like he just kind of stopped there. And hey, everyone made it very clear because Emmanuel Acho came out and was like, "That's a cowardly play. That's it's dirty, whatever." Like
Warren Sharp was really loud about it being dirty as well.
Like a lot, these people were trying to
not Warren Sapp, Warren Sharp.
Yeah, they're coming for it was Thaddeus Moss, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Thad.
And anyone, and you would expect those guys to at least have some knowledge of football.
My favorite was people making the joke oh, he must have been a Hall of Famer's son or something. Come on, man.
To me,
I agree, Bill.
You've got a lot of
Dumbo.
You got a lot of people coming out and they're like, that is exactly what tight ends are taught to do.
Tight ends, running backs, wide receivers
on a cut block, but when they come back like that, that's what you have to do.
Well, and I don't agree with a whole lot of what Mark Schlereth says. He came out and said the same thing, though, where you have taken away hitting up high. You've taken away hitting, how much more of the body are you going to take away if you take away hitting low, where you can't hit anybody? It's not like an illegal chop block or something like that. There's ways to defend yourself against this particular type of block. Again, the Bengals did it twice in this same game where they defended this type of a block. It's just the way it is. He just took the wrong angle at it. Everyone said you've never played football before. You're supposed to hit it head on, and you're supposed to either go up and over the guy, which is the block. You're supposed to level the guy in some way, shape, or form, or you block and still continue around him, albeit you're kind of taken out of the play because, again, they executed the block. If you take away the legs where you're not allowed to do those types of blocks, how else, especially as a tight end, as a receiver, as a running back, are you supposed to block these guys who are probably outweighing you by somewhere in the range of, 70 to 150 pounds
of muscle?
Right.
Solid.
Those are big dudes coming back there.
Not college players, but NFL players.
And I guess they said Thibodeau is going to be okay.
He's going to be okay.
He's got a strained.
He'll be out for a bit, but he's going to be okay.
He'll be fine.
Darian Beavers in the same game. He was fighting for a starting spot. They were starting to look at him as a starter on the inside of this Giants linebacking core. And God, it sucks that it was at home. Darian Beavers, a Colerain guy, and he was taken out of this game and taken out of his first season as a rookie. Bearcats' own linebacker Darian Beavers out for the season with an ACL tear. Your heart goes out to the entire Beavers family. Just sucks.
Ugh. It's not good, but we know what kind of dude he is. Like, he's going to be a dude.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy who went to UConn as a little DB.
A little teeny tiny guy.
Little DB, and came out of UC as a very large linebacker. So, again, T's and P's and all of that go out to Darian Beavers, but God, that sucks. Absolutely sucks. On the other hand, I don't know. I mean, the Bengals are back to the Bengals. They're looking to figure out. They got 1 week to try and figure it out. What's your timeout?
I'm calling for a timeout.
What's your TV timeout?
What's timeout for?
There's a guy in the chat that needs to be jettisoned. Get him out of here. Bum of the week. You just nominated yourself and got elected bum of the week. Way to go. Who is that guy, Ed?
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
That's Bill Midhall.
He's a Michigan fan.
Good old Bill Midhall.
He's a Michigan fan.
Sorry, it popped up. I had to bring it up.
That's fine.
Might need to time him out for a few minutes so he can think about what he said.
I don't know how to do that.
Did you delete the comment?
Yeah.
Is
it the block button? Oh.
I don't know. You don't have to block your brother.
What's Aaron doing?
I'm texting my commissioner who's blowing me up saying, I don't want to have to auto pick for you. You need to go in and set your keepers.
I told you to do that earlier. Sign on the dotted line, guy. Speaking of signing on the dotted line, well, I guess I'll say this for the Bearcats. Chitter chatter.
Thank you, Kirsten.
I love Kirsten. She's one of my old coworkers from Cintas. That's fantastic. Except she loves Detroit, the Red Wings. She's a huge Detroit fan. So
that's soccer. I mean, it's hockey. It's fine.
It's Kirsten, not Kristen. Bill, get it right or pay the price. So the Bengals have to figure out who their final 50. What is it? 53 now.
53-man roster. That's sure.
Well, obviously Jesse Bates signed his tag today, and then they put him on the commissioner's list, which I didn't know was a thing.
What's a commissioner's list?
It means that he doesn't take up a spot on the roster for the next 2 weeks or something. So then they can still keep judging the guys that they've got now. So it doesn't
That's horrible.
But yeah, I assume he probably won't be playing in the final preseason game.
Yeah, probably not.
How far behind? Okay, I'm jumping on this train.
Hey, real quick, hey, thank you to the viewers on Twitch. Go ahead and hit that follow button, please. We're trying to get to 10 new follows tonight. Thank you.
But as Jesse Bates, right? He's a veteran player. He's been around. He's pretty good, but still, how far behind and how not in football shape from not attending practices, participating in practices here? How far back does that set him? I mean, he's got to be on an accelerated plan here. Obviously, there's the defense is probably not. He's probably got the playbook, obviously, and knows those kinds of things. But you haven't been out there meshing with the new guys. It's kind of a disservice, and I know that this kind of gets brought up a lot of times with different players, but it's kind of a disservice to the team.
Yeah.
I
agree. Go ahead, Ed.
We see this every year, though. These guys that hold out, let's talk. I mean, like Tom Brady, for example, right? I mean, he hasn't been at practice for what, 3 or 4 weeks. So he hasn't, I mean, his receivers hadn't have a chance to work with him. It's apparently he was on The Masked Singer, but I mean, we go through this every year, guys who hold out to try.
You say apparently. I think that's all still theorized. I don't know that that's been confirmed by literally anybody.
Hasn't been confirmed by anybody yet, but I wouldn't be
Matt
surprised.
Lanham said, can he?
I'm trying to look that rule up right now.
If he's on the list, I don't know if he can or not. I would assume once he signs the tag, although I think it said the reserve commissioners list, so I don't know what that entails as far as his ability to practice. I'm assuming he probably used team facilities. I mean, we've seen he's posted on Instagram that he's been at the stadium before, like throughout this whole holdout thing. I mean, I like the guy. Like, he's obviously a key member of our defense, and
he was at the game last week in the suite,
yeah, with his feet kicked up. Like,
so this
and
says
obviously he wasn't going to be playing in those games either. I just think that, like, you're not out there meshing with
practicing.
and meshing with the new guys.
Per NFL
Go ahead.
Per NFLcommunications.com, a player who is placed on the commissioner exempt list may not practice or attend games, but with the club's permission, he may be present at the club facility on a reasonable basis for meetings, individual workouts, therapy, and rehabilitation, and any other non-permitted non-football activity. Any other permitted non-football activities.
My goodness.
So there you go. That is, I mean, that's, I don't like it. I don't like holdouts. I mean, I guess you can say you don't like the franchise tag that kind of like backs guys into a corner kind of thing, like sign it or don't play. Like,
sure, that
also could be looked at as not the right way to go about things. I do agree Dax Hill is going to be a dog. We talked about that after the first game. I was impressed with his ability to get to where the ball's at. He either plays bigger or is actually bigger than I thought he was. And then you saw his ability to kind of adjust to a ball that was tipped up over the middle on that interception that he made. He looked pretty darn good there, pretty athletic. I mean, obviously he's a professional football player. He better be athletic, but
right.
Yeah, it was just, to me, I thought it was a better than average play on the ball. I think he's going to fit in very well. The nice thing about him is he can also rotate out to cornerback.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously has the hands to do so.
And I thought I saw that they lined him up at one point covering like the slot and then moved him in on a tight end. Like, he can move around. So, I mean, what are you going to have? You're going to have him, Bates, Von Bell on the back end there, wherever you need to, like, move him around. And then Eli Apple, Mike Hilton.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously good to have depth, especially at that position, anywhere in the secondary, for that matter. Outside of Vaughn and Jesse Bates, who's been the depth at safety over the course of the last several seasons. You had the guy who's been returning punts and kicks, who I believe went on. Did he go on IR today? Brandon Wilson?
Yeah, he's I think that's all done for the season.
So it'd be real interesting to see. Obviously, we saw Chris Evans returning kickoffs, and he did, I think, a 77-yard return on Sunday night. So
we could always go get Darius Phillips or whatever his name was.
Thank you. So it should be a lot. There's a lot riding on this week for a lot of guys on this team. I'll be curious to see. I think Trent Taylor has solidified himself as a dude on this receiving core. Just catches everything. I think he's averaging 17.7 or 17.3 or something like that per reception right now in preseason. That's obscene.
Pearson says let them sit out so no injuries during the preseason. I semi agree with that as far as like what they've done game wise. I don't agree with missing practices. Like I'm just not. I don't think that is a good way to go about things. Like unless you're injured, like or you have COVID. Obviously, we've seen that. Or I know like I think Lyle Collins one day had like a personal issue or something that they didn't get into. Whatever that was, none of our business. He wasn't there. He wasn't able to practice. But I think you need.
He was hanging out with Bengal Jim at the mall.
Get
Probably.
out of here.
That's funny. You still need practice reps. You've got to get practice reps in. And I don't think that you just sit out and do individual workouts for, the 6 months between the end of the season and the start of the next season and go right into playing full speed NFL football. I don't think that it works that way. Maybe he proves me wrong. I don't know. I just think that you need to get practice in, and I'm talking about practice. That is
easy, Allen Iverson.
Practice.
Like
we're not talking about a game.
I just
about practice.
I feel like you've got to have those reps. I don't think that it's something that should be taken lightly. Missing out on that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think you do have to have a couple, maybe these practice games, these collaborative practices that we talked about doing away with. Maybe you just have one just to get your starters out there to get some reps, but
well, no, you do that in the third preseason game.
Yeah, but
for a couple series.
Maybe not against a team that you've practiced against for 2 days prior.
Yeah.
That you also played, I don't know, the biggest game of the season against to end the season when you were only 2 teams left. The whole thing, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that this is the third preseason game. I don't like that we're doing these joint practices against them.
When did joint practices start? Like this was something that's just within the last 10 years or so, right?
I don't know. Google it. I honestly have no clue. And I don't mean that as a slight. Like it's just, I have no idea. I don't remember a time when we didn't have them, but I
don't think they had it during COVID.
I missed that time.
Do you have the projected roster pulled up, Ed?
So I was looking that up real quick. The joint practices thing, but they did cancel them during COVID. So get the projected roster up for you.
From old Charlie Goldsmith.
Is that who?
Is that who? You want me to pull up his?
No, yeah. That's what I've been referring to because he's the only one that I see putting this out regularly.
Well, Ed's looking that up. Did you see that one Auden Tate got cut down in Atlanta?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he got cut today down in Atlanta, which is kind of surprising to me because I was always impressed with him when he was here. I thought he was.
Yeah, same. I mean, people were clamoring for him to get
more
reps.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, with the rise of our receiving corps, we've got there aren't a lot of guys that are going to be breaking into that room with at least a lot of snaps. I really did think he could go somewhere and be a 2, maybe a 1, depending on how bad the team is.
My guy tweets a lot. Did you put that in a group chat at any point?
Charlie Goldsmith?
Yeah.
I can send the tweet to you. I'm looking at it right now.
All right.
Putting it in I'll just can't text it to you. I have to
PTP.
That's fine.
I found a breakdown where he updated his.
It's 10 hours ago. But
this is what I found earlier. That's my bad.
You got to pull up on the old monitor here for those watching. Hey.
So there's your defense, according to Charlie Goldsmith, who thinks it's going to be six defensive ends. So 10 defensive linemen. That's a lot.
And
That's a lot. Only 5 linebackers.
what is
corners.
the red?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't have the answer to that either.
I thought
Maybe guys
that
that can swing different positions. They can play both positions. Because I'm pretty sure Cam Taylor-Britt can play both safety and corner.
But Dax Hill's not listed with any. And then there's yellow.
He notes here that Caleb has a hamstring injury, so maybe these are injuries.
Khalid Kareem. Yeah, maybe they are. Yeah. Cam Taylor-Britt is injured right now, so that makes sense.
Okay. So those are injuries, and then Mike Thomas is I don't know what the yellow denotes, but anyway, let's look at the starters there. Hendrickson and Hubbard at end,
which we knew. Reeder and Hill,
DJ and BJ at tackle,
which we
linebackers
knew.
of Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt. I think we knew that was probably going to be the way that rolls. And then,
you'll probably see Akeem Davis Gaither as that third linebacker there when they're not in the nickel.
And then you got Awuzie, Hilton, Apple, cornerback.
Bringing him back, running him back.
Bates and Bell at safety.
There you go.
And then you got obviously backed up by some rookies in there that
click that left arrow, Ed.
Have been impressive.
That left arrow will take us to offense.
Bloop.
Where you see Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon.
Oh, is he going to be the starter at quarterback? Are you sure about that? I didn't know.
Are you tired? Are you tired of seeing Samaje Perine over Chris Evans? Is it time?
Might be time.
Look, I think he gets a lot of extra hate because people think he could have caught that last pass in the Super Bowl.
No, you look at enough angles, and it was not a catchable ball. That said, I don't know that Chris Evans couldn't have put himself in a better position to catch that ball.
I think that Chris Evans will likely move up into that. I think that should probably be Mixon and then Perine Evans on like the same line.
I think
he probably just didn't have room. He wanted to keep it kind of.
I think Evans will take that job before the end of the season. Mike Thomas, Stanley Morgan, Trent Taylor. I'm a little disappointed you don't see one of those rookies slotted in there at wide receiver between Pryor and I can't remember the other guy's name who had like 90-something yards and led like 7 receptions in the game on Sunday.
I do like to see Trent Taylor still on there though. Like,
sure.
That was a big play. You know, he put the little wrinkle that was put in just for him last year.
Also disappointed at tight end not to ever see Thaddeus Moss on this list.
You didn't go over the starters at wide receiver.
Oh, because you don't need to. We already know the starters. My God, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd,
the best wide receiver trio in the league.
I'm tired of people not.
If Dan Horde,
people are trying to say that we don't have the best trio in the league. Get out of here. Tyler Boyd would be a Ravens fan for a lot of people.
Have you guys tried going into those spaces?
No.
On Twitter, these Ravens fans on spaces
I avoid it like the plague.
Wild.
No way. There's literally no one that can sit down and say that there's a better 1 through 3 on any other team.
No.
No.
Hayden Hurst, Drew Sample, no Thaddeus Moss. Charlie thinks it's going to be Mitchell Wilcox, which that does nothing for me. Jonah Williams,
Cordell Volson.
He's earned it. Come on, man.
Yes, dude, that guy. And you know what? I remember like back during the draft, like right after the draft, when we started talking about him, and like I think it was Dave Simone. That was
you literally said these exact words. I think it was Dave last week. You said these exact same words. I think it was Dave.
So it was Dave. Was super high on him, and he weren't there some like Twitter videos or some like clips or something of him doing crazy stuff? And
probably. I don't.
That guy is a monster. And
if the worst spot on your offensive line is at left guard, and it's an upgrade on last season. Give me that all day.
Yeah, when you don't have when you're across the middle here and you're not looking at,
the thing that I see with
Ted Karras at center looks looks really nice. Alex Kappa, and then Collins over at right tackle. I mean, that is
What I see right now is 5 dudes who actually want it. I don't feel like when Jackson Carman's out there that he's playing to win a spot. He's playing like he deserves a spot. Like,
yeah.
you know what I
Okay,
mean?
that's-
Like, he's not out trying to win his spot every day. What I've seen from Cordell Volson is I'm going to give you everything that I have on every single play. The end.
Yeah. And it seems like it's like translated over to the national media. At least like I've seen a lot of people very high on him.
And maybe his technique isn't great, PFF, and maybe he's, he was credited with an awful lot of slop last night, like some hurries and sacks and what have you. But at the end of the day, I don't think that dude's not going to correct his mistakes. I think he's going to continue to get better and still just go balls to the wall. I will give you everything that I have. My body be damned.
Here's what I'll throw this out. You look at this offensive line versus the offensive line that we had last year. Is it an improvement? The answer is
Fuck
yes.
yeah.
The answer.
You're on
is-
mute.
I'm mute. Yeah, sorry, I was drinking water earlier. Yeah, no, the answer is absolutely yes.
This
So-
is like from the Super Bowl offensive line that we ran out. This is day and night.
I think this offensive line gives Burrow that extra second to drop the bomb down the seam to.
I'm gonna sit out tonight. I think I'll just let you guys talk. Okay,
I
Dad.
just popped in for 1 second.
Hi, Chad.
Hi, what's going on, fellas?
I told you couldn't ever help yourself.
We're talking about the Bengals.
I know. The Jackson Carman thing, man. Like, I just don't get it. He's not.
Cut him.
I know some people in that, obviously through the recruiting circles that date back to that situation, and they all told me the same thing. The guy's just not a dog. Like, he's not wired to be like a guy you can rely on, a guy you can count on. He's going to fluctuate in weight, and he's going to fluctuate in effort. And sometimes it's going to mean a lot to him, and he's going to bust his ass. And then the minute there's like a bump in the road, he's going to be like, I'm good. Like, and that's exactly who we've seen since the Bengals drafted him. I don't know you can ever trust Jackson Carman.
Doesn't have that dog in him.
I just said that.
You did say that.
I'm doubling down.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to hit that button because I don't have a not dog button.
He's not
so-
a dog. Ed, clip this. He's not a dog.
Got that one.
All right. There you go.
Clip that. I just hit the clip that on Twitch. You got it.
Hey.
But that's my thing on Jackson Carman. Like, I don't really have a lot to say about the other stuff. But, like, I just don't get the sense that dude is like, I'm here to win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Do you think he's one of those guys where we spent a second-round pick on you, so we're going to keep you around because we can't quite yet
Right now, yeah.
wear
Yes.
the egg on the face?
Yeah,
because
right
we
now,
spent-
yeah. I don't think they did their homework.
He's a year away from being cut.
I think if they did their homework, they wouldn't have drafted him. Because the homework said, even in his recruiting class,
Fairfield, Ohio.
as elite as he was like a top 5 player in the country. But if you talk to people that knew, they all said the same thing. Like, I don't think he's really about it. Like, I think he just, like, he's taking advantage of being a giant human that should be good at football, and he is, but the truth comes out in the end.
Who was the kid from Lakota West at the same time?
And that's a vague question.
At
And
what position?
it's same.
Like, that's
Same
a vague
same.
question.
It was the
Like a 2018 offensive lineman from Lakota West?
yeah, apparently was very, very, very good. I just had some conversations with there were a few people I was talking to over the weekend who mentioned that the guy from Lakota West, I can't remember the name.
There was a bunch of talent in Cincinnati at that point.
But they were saying
Carmen
that,
was,
you know,
Carmen was far and away the highest rated guy, but there was a lot of people that told me like I don't think this kid has.
It was along the same lines that like
right.
whoever the kid was from Lakota West had it, maybe wasn't rated or didn't necessarily always show as well as Carmen.
I was gonna say Jordan Hicks was kind of around that same time, but he wasn't a lineman.
Earlier though, he was a linebacker.
Yeah,
he has some dog in him for sure.
Dog.
Anyway, but it all goes back to the fact that
they made a bad pick. Like Jackson Carmen's a bad pick. I don't think that pick is ever going to bear fruit, if you will.
We'll see.
What's your cocktail?
Maybe we can trade him.
Fruit.
I mean, we never would have thought that we would get anything out of Fisher, and Fisher turned into BJ Hill, which might be one of the best trades.
With Carmen, you're always going to have that belief that like he was a starting tackle at Clemson, right? Like,
so you could Fisher was.
There's definitely potentially value there.
I'm sorry, I'm not Fisher Price. I'm thinking
Fisher Price.
Yeah, candy or toys.
Toys.
Toys. Yeah. Because you got a 1 month old baby, all you can think about is toys.
Life's happening fast.
Come on, man.
All right, you can tap me out. I just like the Carmen thing annoys me because I think that's a guy that's not about the right things. And
I think it's always irritating when you see somebody that has all the talent in the world and they just kind of middle through life with it. Like, when you're blessed with the ability to be great at something and you just kind of like, as long as I put in the minimal effort, I can stick around, and that's all I really care to do is just like exist as this person.
I don't really have any talent, but I just show up and work every day.
That's fair. I'm
not all that talented at all. What do I do well? I guess is the question.
Talk. Set Twitter on fire.
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. I haven't done that much lately.
You haven't? No.
There's been Aaron knows. There's been a couple situations I've wanted to, but I've been a good boy. Haven't I, Aaron?
I mean, I've been falling off a little bit.
Did one of them involve Samuel Witwicky, whatever that guy's name is?
I played the fifth.
Copy.
I must have missed that one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I played the fifth. All right, you guys go back to doing your show.
Okay.
All right. Love you.
Bye. Didn't even notice the name.
What was his name?
What?
Oh, he's saying he didn't make a comment about BCJ affiliate.
In any case, I don't have any more on. I think I'm exhausted on the Bengals at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna see. Hopefully, get a little bit of a light show, some fireworks for the first couple series, and get those guys off the field and ready to go week 1.
Fair enough.
As long as there's no like battle royale that occurs at the joint practice that Aaron is all against.
Stupid. Bearcats. Camp Higher Ground is over. It's so sad to see it go. 2 scrimmages are in the books. And the quarterback has still not been announced. The starting running back has not been announced.
They've dealt with some injuries to the running back room, though, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, they've been nursing guys back. So this scrimmage was the first scrimmage that they've had all 4 guys available, like fully available. So you saw Miles Montgomery get the bulk of the load with the ones. You've seen him and Charles McClellan bouncing back and forth with the ones. You saw Ryan Montgomery and Corey Kiner both get work with the ones and twos. It's running back is deep. I think it's safe to say running back is deep. I don't know that it's been
That deep.
I don't know. I mean, you don't have a guy like a Jerome Ford right now. You don't have a guy like a Mike Warren right now. Good night, Geoff.
Right, Geoff.
But you know, they're all guys that you could start and feel okay about, if that makes sense. Like all four of them are guys that you could feel okay starting, as opposed to just a standout guy where you're like, this is my guy, the end. Or only having two guys that would be the guys, and then everybody else would be a fill.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing to have when you can,
because running backs get injured.
Yeah, and if you gotta go to a back, maybe you get into a game where running is working far better, and you can just rotate a dude in and out, and they're all, you're not seeing a lot of drop off between each one, and you can get fresh legs out there. I'm not opposed to that. No. As long as it doesn't throw off anything else, and I don't think that Fickle runs a ship wherein somebody, where it's going to be somebody's going to, there's going to be an issue caused by, rotating dudes in and out.
It's not really his style, no.
So, we've seen, we'll go all the way back. I'll reference the very first game that Desmond Ridder played. When he got put in, and they talked about it afterwards, that the plan was, 2 series, and then, he told Desmond, like, hey, if we score on the first 2 series, things might change. That didn't happen. We know what happened. He came in and he stuck around. So, Fickle's going to do what Fickle's going to do, and it's generally been the correct decision all the way down the line. So whoever he decides to run out there, obviously we're all going to sign off on that. Not that we have any input on it, but
we got a little bit of input on it. I think we got a little bit of what we can tweet him.
I don't think that has. He probably has like a flip phone during the season.
Fickle.
Yeah.
We know he doesn't. He did all those calling the players and asking them if he call them back last year. So
could have borrowed someone's phone.
That was an iPhone. What if he borrowed somebody's phone? Then they would have been like, "Whose number is this?" Come on, they all said, "Hey, coach."
He uses iPad.
There's a possibility. You're correct.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, he's earned the trust of this fan base. He's earned the trust of his players. They know that he's not going to just do something to do it. He's also not going to. When was the last time he made a decision that you're like, that wasn't the right decision?
Ooh, that wasn't right.
I'll wait.
There hasn't been, so I don't think.
Maybe
the end of the Georgia, maybe the end of the Peach Bowl.
Maybe not bringing in a kicker last year.
Yeah,
there's that.
It didn't really come back to bite him. Luckily.
Yeah, I mean, the kicker actually made more kicks against Alabama than he had all season.
Yeah. So
he didn't go get a kicker from a frat party down the street. I know that.
That's not something he did. Well done, Ole Miss.
What?
Yeah, that's
you haven't seen that interview?
That's the thing that happened.
Oh, I did. Okay, yeah. Okay,
with old Lane Kiffin, who didn't know anything about his kicker. Was it a kicker or a punter? I think it was a punter.
It might have been a punter.
But I saw
where he said like, "Oh yeah, I don't know who this guy is." He's like, "I don't know. I told him we needed a punter."
He wouldn't found me a punter.
He showed up. They're like,
doing keg stands, but no,
make sure he's eligible and whatnot. And
we got to get him good and liquored up before he goes out there. But
yeah,
I found it. I'm not gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that we have necessarily any questions on the battles, and I don't know that he's really going to give any of those answers. I think that even at the Jaden Thompson, Chris Scott, Nick Martiner position at wide receiver, I don't know that we're going to see an answer.
And here's the other thing. Like, I keep seeing a lot of people like, oh my God, they haven't even, they can't make a decision on who their quarterback's going to be, and they can't make a decision here. And they're like,
JQ Hardaway or Jaquan Shepard.
For what reason does it benefit the University of Cincinnati football team to announce to the country weeks in advance who is going to be their quarterback or who is going to be starting? What it does nothing for them.
Starting safety or starting corner or who's going to be our starting linebacking core, or it agreed. It does zero
Helps
benefit.
Nothing.
What do you mean?
We talked about this last year at the end of the year once the season wrapped up, and we kind of started to like feel out who was going to be here, and that there were some transfers coming in, and this and that and the other. When you look at the two quarterbacks that it has come down to, at least the ones that we think it's come down to, because who knows? But you've got two very different styles if you're going to go with Evan Prater and Ben Bryant.
Yes.
Two very different styles. So if you're Arkansas, yeah, you probably do want to know who the starting quarterback's going to be.
Why wouldn't you?
Because that's going to change the way you're going to game plan.
Whereas
100,000%.
Cincinnati knows who Arkansas is running out there. He was really, really good last year.
Like they know what they're looking at. They know how to game plan there. Arkansas is going to have to put in two different game plans.
Yeah, just to be safe. Because
be safe.
Who we've all seen Luke Fickell yank a guy out after 2 series.
Yeah,
run the other guy out there.
Oh.
And maybe that's what happens. Maybe they go out and they run like 3 series, or 2 series, and see what sticks in a game. You know, and if it goes out and it's going well, then they stick with that guy. You know, maybe Ben Bryant starts the game and they walk up and down the field and it's like, well, you know, this is how it's going to be this week. I do foresee that it's probably a position that's in limbo, maybe for the first chunk of the season. Hell, it could be the whole season.
I'd be surprised
I don't like
if
that.
there wasn't. I'd be surprised if there wasn't some type of leash, right? Like maybe it's a very long leash. Whoever wins the job, maybe it's a short leash. I don't know, but
and what's that shirt say that he's walking around with? Iron sharpens iron. And so if you
can we talk about that real quick?
If you've got some guys that are out there that know that there's a dude behind them. And that they're not just locked into a position they can walk through go through the motions to stay there. You're only going to get their best out of them every week. My theory.
Okay. So let's talk about the iron sharpens iron shirts. So apparently there's some people who think that what Luke Fickell is doing is. This was on the BCJ boards, and I don't recall who said it, so I'm not calling anybody out by name. But there were some people on the BCJ boards that said that these shirts are very corny, and they don't look forward to seeing middle-aged men walking around wearing iron sharpens iron shirts at the tailgate or at the games.
These people.
Said that iron sharpens iron is corny, said that this is us or just be us is corny, said that the catchphrases and what have you that Luke Fickell uses is corny and essentially contrived, and just why are we doing this? They likened it to the team on the back of his vests, and they also likened it to hold the rope.
Or row the boat.
That's what they likened it to.
Are they?
What are these people?
My thing is like
I've got 3 soccer games on Saturday, and 2 soccer games on Sunday. I have 4 practices to take these boys to each week, and I work a full-time job, and I do this podcast. Where do these people find time to come up with stupid shit like that?
that this is corny or
that it's corny. Yeah. Just enjoy the ride. All right.
There's another one. They probably don't like that either.
Oh, you're right. You probably don't. Yeah. I'm actually going to create a t-shirt right now. It says enjoy the ride. Hey, 513 shirts. Where you at? We need a BCJ shirt that says enjoy the ride. Just joking. Chad shaking his head. No, don't create that shirt.
Unreal.
I don't know. I like that idea. But that gets down to my point. Like, anyone who has spent any amount of time participating in any team sport.
We all hear the cliches, but when you build a culture that's actually buying into it, that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Not the words, but it's like actually feeling the brotherhood and actually knowing like we are making each other better. So you throw iron sharpens iron or whatever, but the fact that they are actually living it and doing it and out there, like that's what it's about.
To me, I mean, it's along the same lines as like getting them excited and like ready to go. Like the team last year, they bought in to pump it up. Yeah, they absolutely did, and the fan base did.
Yeah,
for the most part,
my kids did.
You know what I mean? Like you've got to like every coach everywhere finds some little saying, some little something. You know, like for instance, they Lakota West played St. X this past weekend, Friday night, and they showed the Tom Bolden, that's the head coach I think at Lakota West. Yeah, they showed his pregame speech, and he was like, "One time."
That's at the beginning of the Kenny Chesney concert.
Like,
Kenny Chesney video.
Go. So his was like one time, and then he's like, every one of it's all about the way that it's delivered to the kids, and if they buy into it and they want to run through a brick wall for this man for screaming iron sharpens iron, then he can yell it. If they want to run through a brick wall because he puts pictures of unicorns on the wall, I don't care.
Thinking of all the corny slogans we had for the homecoming game in high school,
or at any professional workplace for that matter.
This is our night.
Like before my oldest, before I take him to football practice, like when we're sitting there talking, like the last thing I tell him before he goes out on runs out on the field is run fast, hit hard. Is that stupid? Probably.
Don't put that on a t-shirt.
Does it sound goofy? Yeah, but when he gets out there,
so corny, Jeff.
It's very corny. But when he comes off the field after practice and he's like, "Did you see that? Yeah, I hit him hard." I'm like, huh?
You have to find ways to motivate your people.
Absolutely.
The end.
Yeah. That's some people it's Kona ice trucks, and some people it's an iron sharpens iron t-shirt.
Sometimes you are lucky enough to have both.
That's true.
And that's double motivation.
I can't higher ground.
Just saying. I just want to bring that up because it just really bothered me. Like if that's what you're really getting all riled up about,
then go.
Trust me,
go cheer for Kansas football.
I get really riled up about some silly shit. Like we all know. You guys know, Chad knows. I get riled up about some really silly shit. But I feel like this is taking it to a whole new level of things that bother you. So, that said, Des Ritter played Sauce.
The Falcons screwed that up big time.
By starting, who'd they start? Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, all week, NFL has been pushing that picture out there on Twitter. Ritter versus Sauce, Ritter versus Sauce, Ritter versus Sauce. And then we're going to start Marcus Mariota.
Pat Lambert with Max Steinecker was way funnier in that same, like they cut off Dez's head and put.
Oh yeah, I did see that too.
Put Pat Lambert and they cut off Sauce's head and put Max Steinecker, and that was hilarious.
Let's talk about that real quick because I saw somebody mention it on Twitter. But then obviously it goes hand in hand with things that we've said here since halfway through the season last year when we started saying we could have a good solid amount of guys get drafted and like some first round guys maybe, and like what that does for the university. Mm-hmm. And then yes, it's a preseason Monday night game, mm-hmm. but literally all the graphics that you saw were Desmond Ritter, Bearcat, Dawg, Okay, I guess you're not gonna hit it. Thanks.
I got the comments up.
And then Sauce Gardner.
Dog.
So when you've got that, and you can be like, a recruit comes in that you're trying to get this recruit, and I know we've gone over this before, but like you hold that up and you're like, look at this. This is a Monday night game.
Or you put it on one of the TVs in the locker room as you're touring.
Or you put it on a T-shirt.
It just wants T-shirts for everything. But that's, I don't know, huge. You can't
buy that marketing. That was free marketing.
No. Yeah, for sure.
Very expensive marketing that was free for the university to be like, look,
paid for by the NFL.
These are our dudes, and they were just here, and they're in the NFL, and they're the like marquee guys that they're choosing to put on the front of the graphic for this game. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to see what happens with guys like, is Kobe going to be a starter? Is DeBlanco going to make Seattle's team? Is Jerome Ford are they going to trade Kareem Hunt? Is Jerome Ford going to elevate to running back number 2? I think he's even in a battle for number 3 right now. So we'll see. But there's certainly plenty of dudes out there for these Cincinnati Bearcats that are fighting for their NFL lives here in week 3. So
fighting very well. I mean,
yeah,
Dez had he started the needle on a couple of those passes last night, and
he's certainly making an argument for being a starter for sure.
Marcus Mariota can go sit down somewhere.
Yes.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
I think well, from the podcast that I was on, they're all on board with Ritter being the guy.
Because you kind of know what you have in Marcus Mariota, right? Like what has he done to really say I should be a starter anywhere?
I mean, he looked okay at the beginning of that game.
Okay is not going to win you games, right? Like okay is just going to get you to another 5-12.
I mean, at some point you got to make the decision on who's going to be the guy.
Do we want to find out if he is capable of being the guy, or do we need to draft someone else next year?
Yeah.
Because Marcus Mariota is not your future. And if Dez is your future right now, he's on a rookie contract.
Dude, and what about that pass he made I think it was that Bernard guy again?
Yeah.
Over the middle, where he squeezed it into a window that...
That's what I'm saying. He threaded the needle a couple times last night.
And another side note about that guy, I know this is a Cincinnati podcast, but apparently that Bernard guy is like the number 1 lacrosse player in the country.
I heard him talking about that yesterday.
He's like a lacrosse dude.
Well, considering is there even a professional lacrosse league? No wonder he's.
I think
so.
Is.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's probably akin to a lot of the other like professional like.
One of the Barstool guys owns one.
Weird.
So quick question. So there was a graphic today where 18 coverage snaps and Sauce Gardner hasn't been targeted once.
Mm-hmm.
So the beginning of the season, they have the Ravens, then they have the Browns, then they had the Bengals. Who's going to be the first one to get a touchdown on Sauce?
I hope it's Jamar.
It's not going to be the Ravens.
No.
It's not going to be the Browns.
No, it's not going to be the Browns.
Because who are they?
Chad's back in his white tee.
He's also on mute.
Fresh in my white tee.
Chad's on mute. Does he know he's back?
Sorry.
He's thinking.
I mean, I could put the polo back on, but like.
No, I didn't know if Ed just brought you back in and you didn't.
No,
if you look at the private chat, he said tap in.
Tap back in.
Just producing my ass off over here, Jeff.
There's a reason that nobody will throw at Sauce. We talked about this last year, and I don't think people believed me. There were teams that went into those games thinking we are going to throw at him and expose him.
It didn't work out for them.
No,
why did it not work out, Aaron?
Because he's an excellent
coverage.
Because the guy he was guarding was not open.
Exactly.
You are going to throw if you watched that game last night, the Falcons dominated throwing to the left because the guys on the left were running wide open. Why did they not throw to the right? Because the guy that Sauce was guarding
wasn't open.
Was not open.
And it was easier to throw to the left.
That's what I'm saying.
You throw to the wide open guy, not the guy that's covered.
Who's usually on the right for the Bengals? Chase.
Good luck, man.
Oh, I'm saying, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying too. But I mean, what if it happened in Cincinnati?
I would think that.
Hey, look. Okay. Let me ask you this, Ed.
Yeah, no, I don't want it to happen, but
Ed,
I'm just saying.
Let me ask you this, Ed. Let me ask you this.
I do.
If you're going to jump into the fucking foray here, let's have the conversation.
Just a question.
If you have the option of throwing to Jamar Chase, guarded by Ahmad Gardner, or throwing to T. Higgins, guarded by whoever that shitty other cornerback was that was letting guys run wide open all over the field, who are you going to throw to?
T. Higgins.
Right.
I know.
There's a reason Bengals opponents throw at whoever Eli Apple is guarding. And it's because Awuzie is really good. And Mike Hilton's really good.
Jeff,
and they look at that and say, we're throwing at Apple.
Great. Now Apple's mom's going to come after us.
She can come after you all she wants. The reality is what I just said was 1,000% accurate.
No, I understand. Yeah. I understand.
You're not throwing at Awuzie. You're not throwing at Hilton if you don't have to. That leaves one guy.
Gives you your best chance.
Right.
Even then, it's not always a good chance, but
I just think it's funny how much no one believed the things that Cincinnati fans were saying and it goes beyond that though. Like there are people that are surprised with what Ritter's doing already, even though they're saying he looks like he's been in the league 17 years.
My favorite part about all of this though is the fact that Stingley does not look good. He ain't Sauce. Derek Stingley is not Sauce.
He's never been Sauce.
There are some people who thought he was better.
I know, but he never has been.
So, but then you know, and then you got a guy like, unfortunately for Beavers, he gets hurt, but there were some absolute dogs on this team that
great players.
It literally players. And we carried the torch, as best we could as fans, and obviously media coverage and things that to try to get people that were outside the bubble to understand that what we were saying wasn't just to hype up guys that were on the team that
we weren't being
covering.
Homers.
Right. We were legitimately saying you don't understand what is going on.
Brian Cook is a dog. Brian Cook is a dog.
Yes.
He's going to blow you up. He's going to sniff out whatever you're trying to do, and he's going to destroy your offense.
And in Seattle, you got
Kobe and Joel.
And Joel.
And Joel DeBlanco.
And they're, those folks up there, it's almost like people think these guys just materialized, they didn't play in college.
Here's the best validation of all of this, Jeff, is that the message we're getting back from all of these places is that these Cincinnati dudes know how to play football. They've been trained right. They've been taught right. They understand fighting for your spot. They understand being in a position battle. They understand special teams. They understand getting in the weight room and getting after it. That's what we were trying to express to people, is that it's not just that these guys are football, studs. It's that they know how all of this works. They've been trained. You go in, you put your head down, you do your work, you get in and you build a relationship with your position coach, and you build a relationship with the head coach and the strength and conditioning coordinator, and you get in the weight room and you do everything that's asked of you, and you get in the book and you study and like all that shit,
Nutrition.
all of these guys are ready for that because they've been through it. It wasn't bullshit here. Why do you think Alabama, like that's the Alabama thing, right? Like we joked about going into, it was only half joking, going into the Cotton Bowl. Nick Saban has like 15 quality control assistants that have been breaking down tape on Cincinnati.
That have been NFL head coaches.
Yeah, they're all NFL head coaches or coordinators, whatever. They've been in Alabama, like locked in a office, like a room the size of my office.
People refer to that as a cage.
Yes. And they've done nothing but examine tape of Cincinnati. My main point, we talked about it when they went into the SEC championship game against Georgia. And it was like, look, man, they've been getting ready for this shit for 5 months, right? The day Georgia had their first practice, Alabama had people working on Georgia. Yeah. And they had a month to work on Cincinnati. They do it right. Luke Fickell's doing it right in the locker room. And that's why these guys are going to NFL teams, and these NFL teams are like, oh my God, we got a dude that knows the deal. Yeah, no shit.
There was someone that asked me on Sunday when I was on that Falcons podcast, like, will it, like, does the level of competition that Dez faced in college, will that like hold him back in the NFL? And I said no. I said you saw what he was able to do against those teams, and then I mean it's not like the AAC was totally devoid of competition throughout that time.
No, there's plenty of guys that are in the NFL. Like it wasn't good.
He wasn't playing.
It wasn't like it wasn't.
But exactly, and that's what I said. I said he wasn't playing an SEC or Big Ten all the time kind of schedule, but
he's going to give you more than Joe Flacco against.
I said, but when he did play against those teams, like he showed out very well. I said, if you want to go look at a team that was ranked in the top of the ranking, go look at watch the Notre Dame game. Watch what he did there. I said, when they played Indiana, granted Indiana turned out to be a turd, but you had a situation where he started off not very good in that game, and he was able to turn it around, shake all that off, and perform very well in the second half.
Get it right. Get it tight.
So, but it all just goes back to the fact that things are done right here, and UC is not so much the sleeper anymore of like people not necessarily believing. And that's all well and good heading into a Power 5 conference.
They're in a good spot. We'll see how well they can take advantage of it, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, Ed.
I'm going to bed.
Cool. Bye, Dad.
Bye.
Bye, Chad.
Ed,
Bye.
you watch wrestling this week?
Hold on, we're not going to talk about wrestling.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about wrestling tonight.
For a second. We can talk about wrestling if you have a thing. I just want to bring up the point, the fact that there is a number one basketball recruit that is being targeted by our staff. And
I didn't know if you'd want to get into it since we're 4 hours past your bedtime. 4 minutes past your bedtime.
Well, we can briefly just touch on it because I know that it's been that you guys have talked about it on every other podcast on the BCJ network.
Yeah.
I just think it's awesome. I know that you guys had predicted that he was going to jump very high.
Don't say you guys. I had nothing to do with that. That was all Chad. He's the one who's seen him.
Right.
I predicted it, but I'm just...
okay. So I won't lump you in with that, but you and Chad did discuss it at the impetus of Chad starting the discussion.
I just don't want to take any of that credit because it's
absolutely
not my credit to take.
That he was going to jump up high on these watch lists and rankings and whatnot. But right now he's the number one
dude in the nation.
He is the dude, and UC is at least in the conversation. And
in 4 conversations.
and that's
if you will.
And that is incredibly impressive. Because it has been a while. I think Chad mentioned that it was like maybe Satterfield.
Since Satterfield, DeMar, when we had two guys in the top 10 that we were targeting. Obviously, Xavier Booker goes to Michigan State at number 6 in 247 and number 1 in one of the other affiliates. But yeah, Collier's right up there in both, top 10 in both, top 5 in both, I believe.
And we all know he
number
plays,
1 at 24/7.
He plays his summer ball stuff. He plays with Ravon quite a bit, right?
Well, he plays. It depends, but he has played with Ravon. But he plays with. What's the kid's name? The other target forward from the same school. Plays, I just totally blanked on him.
What's his name? I can't. Now I'm gonna.
I know. Same. W. Not Tyler McKinley. But that's another dude. Starts with an A. God, why am I blanking? This is terrible for radio.
Yeah, this is just
podcast.
Horribly awful.
Same.
Where's Chad when we need him to tap?
I know he left. He left.
He left at the wrong
a minute
time.
too soon.
There he is.
Page.
Thank you, Arlington Page.
Yes.
You came in at number 60, or right around number 60. And then Rayvon Griffith was number 40. Jizzle James was 67, I think, something like that.
I thought it was 62.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I don't have a brain right now.
But that would be
clearly me either, because I couldn't even remember Arlington Page's name.
Arlington Page.
That would be quite the little haul to have going into the Big 12.
As we talked about last night, this is nothing more. At worst, this is a testament to Wes Miller and his staff's ability to evaluate talent. When they got in on Isaiah Collier, he was in that 28, 30,
32.
31 range, around there, which is really good. Elite, like a high-end player. But they saw something different in that kid and went all in. Remember game day when there were Isaiah Collier signs?
Yeah, the ones that you planted.
Why did I plant those, Jeff? Because there was a belief in the Cincinnati staff and around the program. This kid is special.
I want to clarify.
Special.
You didn't plant them as in handing people Isaiah Collier signs.
I just told people to take Isaiah Collier signs.
Just wanted to clarify for anyone who might be listening and think that you actually ran around giving people Isaiah Collier signs.
I did not do that.
I just see Chad running around
A lot of people on Twitter saying that.
He's got this big magic marker and a cardboard sign. He's like, "Here, kid, hold this."
We were worried about Kelly living on game day, so I wasn't there to even be able to do that. Like I got an alibi. I got an alibi.
That's a pretty good alibi.
My wife was dying. I couldn't make it. But as it were, they were right. Like they were right to say we are all in on this kid because this kid has a chance to be special. And 11, 12 months later, he's number 1.
It's not a chance anymore. He's going to be special. The end.
Right. He's number 1. Right. Like there's no better justification of your staff being good at what they do than recruiting a guy that's number 1, like it becomes number 1. And on Rivals, they also moved a guy that Cincinnati spent a shit ton of time on to number 1.
While you're still here, let me ask you this. Are you surprised at all that Bronny James has zero offers?
No.
As a top 10
Not at the
kid.
moment. Not at the moment. First off, he wasn't good for...
He's a top 10 kid.
Will you shut up and listen for a second? You're not good at this. Shut up and listen.
You're always talking.
There was a period where watching Bronny was like, I don't know that he's any good. I don't know that there's enough juice to like support the squeeze. And as time went on, he got better at all of the like. So he got screwed, right? Because his dad is 6'9" and he's 6'3".
His brother's taller than him, isn't he?
Yeah,
His
his
younger
brother
brother
is taller than him.
Yes.
Bryce.
But it got to the point over the past probably 2 months that he started to be able to like do the things that a high major player does. Impact the game with rebounding and passing and pushing the ball up the floor and putting pressure on a defense. And like all of a sudden it was like, oh, there's all that like secondary stuff we loved about LeBron, but we took for granted because he was 6'9" and like the best player in the world. Now you're seeing in his son all that stuff that like you take for granted with LeBron is manifesting itself in Bronny. And for whatever reason, they have now started trending towards they are going to go to college. Like he's going to go to college.
I was just saying,
The initial belief was it was going to be straight to like
the G League or
the
like
G League or Ignite
for sure.
or
He's not good enough.
no, I think he is down. That's actually the ironic part, Aaron. I think now he is good enough to go to the G League or Ignite or whatever when he wasn't 6, 8, 9 months ago.
I also
But
kind of wonder how
perception has
much.
changed.
I also kind of wonder how much, like, well, that you know the thought process there was that he was gonna not do the college route, but I also like I seem to recall there being some like interview spots with LeBron talking about like missing out on that part of playing basketball, playing at the college level, and like
so
you know,
why not have him go play a year? He doesn't.
Yeah.
They're not in a situation where he needs the $75,000 to go play for the
That's true.
you know the Ignite G League Ignite. They'll be okay with it,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure he could probably get an NIL deal for $75,000.
Probably there's probably a company out there that might do that.
Just a guess.
His dad's going to be
His-
paying him.
His dad has a company.
Just a guess. So there is this real feeling that now he's trending towards college. But there is also this real, like when you watch, he's become a much better player.
I saw the stuff he was doing in Europe, and he looked fantastic.
Right. And 8 months ago, he didn't have that in his game. So very cool.
All right, well, I know Jeff's got an early day tomorrow
I
morning.
do. First day of
So-
school tomorrow.
Glad we got to
What
get
grade are
through-
you in?
First grade. I'm going into first grade. Did you see this? Aaron apparently got demoted to BCJ affiliate here.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
Ed
I was
got
recently promoted.
Ed's fired.
Congrats
Ed's
to
fired.
me.
Get him out of here.
I after I saw that, I checked the financial books, and that doesn't appear to be true. That Aaron's
Dang.
an affiliate and Ed's partner.
Dang, Chad just moried you.
Dang. He's got
You
the
are
paternity
not
test.
the
He's got the-
employee.
He's the paternity test. I'm not the employee.
All right, well, that's going to do it for another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. As always,
shoot.
for Chad Brendel,
You're not
for
fired. You're just not hired.
for Jeff Howell, and for whatever Ed is these days. I don't even know at this point.
Best producer in
Um,
Cincy.
Self-proclaimed. I am Aaron
Nobody's
Smith, and
fought me
this
for it.
was another episode of PTP. We will see you 9:15 Tuesday night next week.
Bye.
Ba-da-ba.